David Cameron get on the phone, ring him up. Seriously, you brought the Duke in last week. Get him to give him a name and say,
in response, I was speaking to Nigel Adams earlier today. Nigel's got a one-to-one meeting with David Cameron tomorrow, and he is going to put that to David Cameron. Will he ring and speak to Humphrey Smith? But the question will be what that will do. You probably know as well as I do.
David Bow, Corporate Director of Business and Environmental Services from North Yorkshire County Council. Certainly a very interesting meeting tonight. It was great to see so many people turning out. I'm not good at estimating numbers, but there were hundreds of people in the hall. There was some significant feeling, there was quite a bit of emotion, but I think the core of the audience understood what the issues that we were trying to get across, understood the problems we were facing. I'm hoping they recognise the commitment of the County Council in wanting to resolve it as soon as possible.
Now, you talked about a bridge on a different site, one that Humphrey Smith couldn't interfere with. Tell us more about that.
Well, at the moment, we'd proposed a temporary footbridge solution. Unfortunately, Sam Smith Breweries are effectively not supporting our request to utilise their land to facilitate the introduction of that bridge. So, as a consequence, we're looking at other options. We're looking at the same site and seeing if there's a legal way through that disagreement. But we're also looking at other sites, and we're optimistic that we can find another site to effectively introduce the same outcome.
The question is, you did mention there was an alternative site being looked at for the pedestrian bridge, but you didn't say where it was.
I mean, yeah, it is in close proximity it's in close proximity to the locations that were required. It's certainly within 50 metres upstream, 50 metres downstream.
So you're talking about the power post then?
I don't know. From my point of view, I want to avoid any further conflict with anybody, so I'll wait until I've got a solution before I announce it.
Now, you mentioned you were 4 weeks away possibly from getting a bridge together, if you can get the other side sorted.
If we effectively, the solution that we've got in hand, from a technical point of view, we can put a temporary footbridge on site and have it open in 4 weeks. But obviously we need an agreed position where we can actually site it. And so that's what we tied with. Until we get that, it will take 4 weeks from that point in time.
Where's the other side then?
I'm not prepared to disclose exactly where the site is at this point in time. We've got more than one site we're considering.
But obviously either side of the existing bridge and either side of the place where you did want to put it.
Yes, it's not so far distant that it would be too inconvenient for the public, because clearly this is about improving access.
I'll respect the fact that you don't want to say where, you probably wouldn't tell me anyway, but can I ask, is that because you haven't dotted the I's and crossed the T's?
It is. I mean, at this point in time, we still need landowners' permission to do that, wherever we decide to do it, and we need to first of all ratify landowner as well, because it's very difficult, particularly in Tadcaster area, understanding entirely what constraints there are on any land ownership.
Do you want to, I know it's great cheering, do you want to show of hands who thinks it would be value for money at temporary footbridge?
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks very much. Could I also ask for a similar show of hands for those who think a permanent footway cycle bridge will be useful?
yes.
Okay.
And a wheelchair one.
Thanks. Thanks very much.
I'm Richard Sweeting, I'm Chairman of Selby District Council. I work very closely with Nigel Adams, MP. I know Nigel Adams, MP, will be speaking to David Cameron, the Prime Minister. We have ongoing situations now that we need to work very closely with the community. We need support from the major landowner, Mr Humphrey Smith, and I urge the MP to speak to Mr Smith to see what he can do to make things better for Tadcaster.
And do you think this will do any good?
You never know. If people, the old-fashioned way is to communicate, and I think if the Prime Minister communicated with Mr Smith, things might just get better.
But doesn't Humphrey Smith know what's at stake here? You know him, don't you?
I do know Mr Smith. I think he knows what's at stake, and I urge him to support the people of Tadcaster.
Why do you think he's being so stubborn? I mean, has he got a point? Is it good value for money?
He actually thinks that building a bridge is a waste of public money. I think he needs to realise that it's public demand and the government is listening to the public, and it is needed in Tadcaster.
I'm Chris Metcalfe, I'm the County Councillor for Tadcaster. One of the very strong things that came out of this evening's meeting was that the public want David Cameron to get directly involved in this issue. David Cameron needs to be picking up the telephone and talking to Humphrey Smith to resolve this problem. Humphrey Smith is not listening to the community in which he actually operates his businesses and owns land. It needs central government to actually intervene.
What happens if the Prime Minister picks up the phone? Will Humphrey Smith answer it?
That's a $64,000 question. On previous history, I would probably say he'd declined to take the call.